lost all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She caught me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess it is time. Sorry, I was a little late, fashionably late, I hope, but I keep having about a little bit of issue with Skype connecting to the call board just at this time of night. I don't know what it is, but maybe the application I'm using is just really busy this time of night. I don't know. Aloha to you, Philip Blair. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in, and hello to everybody in the chat. Great to see you guys. Linda Peterson. Oh, that's really cool. Thank you. I'm glad you made it. That's wonderful. I'm just looking at everybody coming in, and thank you all for being here and being a part of the shows. I really appreciate it. Hello to Bigfoot in Germany, Bama BF. That's Joyce. How you doing, Joyce? I see Josh is in there. Cameron was the first through the gate really quickly. Like he almost beat me in there, and I launched the thing. So I don't know how you pulled that off, but that was pretty intense. Hello, Donnie. Good to see you. Sissy Lawson, great to see you. Well, it's great to see all you. I mean, I don't mean to say good for some and great for others. I love you all. I'm just so thrilled to see everybody come in. I just don't want to keep saying the same thing, so got to mix it up just for variety's sake. Duke, hello, Duke. How you doing, brother? What do you call it? Para-rowdies? Para-rowdies. Okay. Mogolan, good to see you. Josh is in here. Brown Dwarf, how you doing, brother? Gemini, of course, is here. There's Sissy again. I'm just looking at the list as it's rolling, but I guess I could go up and just see the participants list. I got Bama BF, Bigfoot in Germany, Brandon Becker, Brian Sullivan, otherwise known as the Duke, Brown Dwarf, Cameron F., Donnie C., Gemini, Moon, Josh Jacobs, Linda Peterson, Mary Brim, how you doing, Mary? Mogolan Monster, I'm here, Philip Blair, Renee Harvey, and Sissy Lawson. So all you guys are here. And I know people will continue to come in because I don't know what's going on with notifications on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. But as you're here, if you're not getting notified, check the bell next to the subscribe button. Some people are telling me it gets unchecked somehow, and I've been hearing that a lot, not only for this show and this channel, but all over YouTube. People are talking about how their bells get unclicked and they're not sure what the hell's going on. So definitely check on it. It's not me. I'm not doing anything. I'm doing a lot of things, but not to keep you from getting notified. So check into that. Make sure your bell is rung. That should give you notifications. I don't know how it all works, but I'm just here doing a show, and thank you all for being here. And I hope you all are ready because it's time for bed. Oh, hello, Vicky. Good to see you. It's wonderful to see you in here. That doesn't happen a lot. Vicky, of course, is from Geeks Paranormal, GEEKS, General Ectoplasmic Exposition, something. I forget the acronym. Knowledge Society. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names anyway, but yeah, check that out, guys, if you get a chance. It's another paranormal show out there on the YouTubes, and definitely a lot of fun. They're both Vicky and Shauna have been great friends of the show, And I appeared on their show one time, a long time ago. So you were demonetized. Oh, yeah, that's right, Duke. I know that. That's terrible. I don't know why that's happening. I'm just counting the days till we get pegged too. But I don't know why. I don't know what criteria they're using, but apparently it's happening a lot, and it starts to go on for the the paranormal community as well, which isn't really racy or controversial, but maybe it is. I don't know. So anyway, guys, welcome to the show, and I've got a bunch of scariness lined up for you. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. But if you have something you want to share to the show, you can always call in 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Or if you want to just email me something that has happened to you, not occurred to you, well, occurred to you too. If you have any cool thoughts about the paranormal you'd like to share, please feel free as well, or thoughts about the show that you'd like to share. But you can email the show at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Again, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. So the number is on your screen on YouTube all the time. It's right up there. Whoops, I got to watch where I'm pointing. Right up there. It's the little call-in number. Ow, jeez. Oh, man, I just stubbed my big toe. Dope. I hate when I do that. Oh, my God. Ow. It's like something went under my toenail, too. Oof. All right. Anyway, I'm getting better. But, yeah, the number's up there. So if you figure out something later you want to call in about, there it is. So it's always on your screen. There it is. Good. Thanks, Duke. Thanks for posting that. Sorry. It kicked my fan under my desk. It still zings. I don't know what it is about the tip of your toe. When you stub the tip of any toe, it's just like murder. So anyway, sorry. I don't mean to be whining. But let's get on with the show here. I got a story pulled up for you right now. And this story's coming out of the state of California, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see what's going on in the state of California. I'm currently in a state of pain. Sorry, that was free and easy. All right, it says, I'm not that new. It says, I'm not that new to the web, but I have something that I wanted to share with everybody. I have to admit, I think that I saw a ghost once, and I'm not sure, but I've heard things which aren't explainable. I'm 14 years old, and I started experiencing things when I was about 9 or 10 years old. I think it all started one night when I just couldn't get to sleep, and I laid in bed thinking about really nothing. For some reason, I turned my head to see a little girl curled up into like a ball leaning on the wall. Well, I freaked. I quickly closed my eyes, turned the other way, and put the blankets over my head. I don't know what it is about the paranormal, but the blankets over the head. Now, to me, and I've said this a lot of times on the show, but to me, if something is terrifying me, I definitely want to keep an eye on what the hell it's doing, because I don't think it's like, I don't want to see whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I guess maybe it's, maybe it makes sense, but to me, if something's terrifying me, I want to keep an eye on it. I don't want to like hide and, you don't know where it is then. If you can see it, you can still kind of react, I think. But anyway, just me. I always found that very interesting. So put the blankets over my head. I slowly started to get sleepy, and I never talked about it again. The next time I was in the bathroom washing my feet, when I turned up and there was like someone looking through the window. I was so scared I ran out and slipped because my feet were still wet. I told my mom, but like all other parents, she didn't believe me. And then I forgot about it too until the next time it happened. When it did, I was using the bathroom, which made it even more embarrassing. I ran out and told my dad, and this time he did believe me. He got his flashlight, and I followed him to the back of the house. And when we got there, there was no one there, nor any footprints. So I don't know if it was some pervert who covered his footprints with dirt or if it was a ghost. Well, after that, I moved to the next time this happened, and I went to my grandma's house for like 3 hours, and I forgot why, though. Well, when we came back, we heard this whirring sound coming from the kitchen. My dad went in first, and it was the blender that was on. Well, we quickly turned it off and checked if it was hot, because if it was, then one of us must have left it on, but it wasn't, and no one was home except my dog, but he can barely reach the chair. The next time my mom was trying to open the door of the bathroom when the door forcibly shut from the inside, which really freaked her out because but we excused it. We excused it as the wind, even though it couldn't be stronger than my mom. Well, that was when I was 13 when this had all happened, and I went to stay at my grandma's house, even though, even though I hate her. But my mom was in Mexico right now, so at 3 in the morning, I was awake because I couldn't get to sleep when suddenly I heard footsteps in the kitchen. But not like regular footsteps, but like someone with high heels. And like always, I freaked and I went to sleep. The next thing that happened was about 2 months ago when at like 2 in the morning, there's a lot of likes in here. When at like, you know what I'm saying? When at like 2 in the morning, I went to the bathroom while I was in there. I heard footsteps in the kitchen, but when I got there, there was nobody there. The next thing is when I was laying in my bed, when I felt someone rub their fingers on my back, which creeped the hell out of me. Well, this is the last one, and this happened like a week ago because I'm 14 now. I was at my aunt's house when I was closing the bathroom door, when like out of nowhere, out of nowhere, the door like pushed itself closed. I don't know what's going on, but this follows me everywhere I go. So if someone can help me with this, please do, because I don't know if I did something to make all this happen and follow me. Well, like, I'm not like really sure like what's going on, but like I'd be like worried. Sorry, I couldn't resist. That's an awful lot of likes for one short story. But speaking of likes, I hope you guys are liking this video. I hope you're liking this stream, clicking that like button, because like that's pretty awesome when you do. And I love it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's all subliminal programming I'm working on here, so let me know if it's working. All right, West Virginia is next, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what's going on in West Virginia. And make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. In the summer of 96, I was sharing an apartment in Huntington, West Virginia. My roommate and I were having similar experiences, but we really didn't discuss it with each other until I had the scariest moment of my life supernaturally, which led up to my experience was on different occasions. My roommate and I were having something tapping on our feet while we slept. Ooh. I was sleeping on the couch downstairs one night and falling asleep watching a late night movie. And at the end of the couch where my feet were, I kept feeling a thud, like something was hitting the end of the couch where my feet were. This happened a few times on different late nights, and later my roommate confided with me that she had something smack her bare feet at night while she was asleep. That's weird. One evening, arriving home after work at the local pawn shop where I was a secretary, I walked up to the apartment and no one was home, so I walked through the kitchen where the answering machine was located to check the messages, and something in the apartment just felt off to me. Like something in the room felt really weird. Likes, there's more likes. Tonight's show is brought to you by the word like. Please like this video. Thank you very much. I gotta find the answering machine here. Like someone was in there, even though no one was physically there. I can't really put it into words. I checked the machine and had my back turned, and all of a sudden something or someone tapped me really hard 3 times on my right shoulder. I was terrified, but I didn't dare turn around. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw what looked like a long bony finger with 3 raised bony knuckles. The apparition, which was kind of cartoonish in that it was blue and green, but real bright. I stood still and really didn't know what to do. And then I heard a voice that still haunts me to this day. "Nobody's home," it said, in a deep, guttural, angry tone. Calmly, but with the hair on the back of my neck standing up, I walked through the living room and went upstairs to the bedroom, and I locked the door. About an hour later, my roommate arrived home, and I called down to her in a really frightened yet excited voice and told her what happened. But being the accepting, ghostly kind of person she is, she actually believed me and recounted our feet experiences that evening. To this day, I think about what happened to me, and it scares me to death. It never bothered me again, and I try not to think about it too much to give it energy to come back for another visit, but whatever it was It seemed very large and very tall, and I felt it was about 7 feet tall standing behind me and black in color, almost like a Grim Reaper type of thing. And it felt very evil. Ooh. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. How do you like those potatoes? I live in Idaho, so. I see my cat walk by my microphone again. I swear to God, I got these like little fine hairs up my nostrils. Sorry. The next one is coming from West Virginia. All right. This is blah, 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 blah. Got to get rid of the fluffy stuff. In September of 2005, I was house sitting for my aunt who was away on vacation, and she rents a house in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, off of Shoe Lane. The house has 3 apartments in it, and the house is very old, at least over 100 years old or more. And one night I was sleeping downstairs, and my crazy alcoholic boyfriend kept calling around 3 a.m., getting stupid with me and causing trouble because I was staying there alone. We had a huge fight on the phone, and I turned the ringer off. There was a phone in the upstairs bedroom, and I could hear it ringing. My boyfriend at the time was psycho and kept calling the house. Yeah, that's a keeper. The upstairs bedroom where the other phone is located has an old wood floor that is very distinctive if somebody upstairs is walking around. It creaks really loudly. As I was laying in the dark, hearing the phone ringing upstairs, the phone finally stopped ringing, and then I heard what sounded like a loud bang. It sounded like a big box or a desk was picked up and thrown to the floor as if to say, "Be quiet." I got up and stood there and called out, "Hello?" Nothing. And then I listened for a footstep, like it heard my thought. A creaking step was heard, and then another. Well, I dared not walk up the stairs, so I got my keys and left. The next day I returned and went upstairs to check it out. Nothing was disturbed. Nothing was moved. And I got the feeling that the spirit of the house was sick and tired of the disturbing phone calls and was sending out a warning for it to stop. Yeah, I don't blame it. I think I'd get real played out of that quick, too. Nothing like that really immature kind of relationship stuff. That's one benefit of getting older, is that you don't have to deal with as much of that childishness. It drove me crazy back in the day when I was a kid. All right, so the next one. The next one is from West Virginia again. All right. This is, I think, the same person, actually. It says, this is my third submission. So currently, about where I've lived the last 2 years, West Virginia has a lot of spirit activity. I rent an apartment in an old house built in 1930. The house has 4 apartment units, and my apartment is upstairs, and a small 2-room efficiency. It is a small 2-room efficiency, rather. My bedroom leads up to the attic upstairs, but it's blocked off, and most of the apartment is modern except for the old, thick doorways, which must have originally been bedrooms leading to other bedrooms. Must have been bedrooms leading to other bedrooms. Okay. It all started last March of 2007. I'd lived there for about 7 months with nothing strange at all, and it was quite nice for a change. I was pregnant at the time, and it was relaxing to watch TV in the bedroom. From my bedroom, a small hallway leads into the kitchen, and I felt a presence appear in the hallway. Seconds later, I heard music. I kept an old music box in the kitchen, but I hadn't wound it up in years, literally. It just sat there collecting dust. At first, I wasn't sure what the music was because the TV was a little loud, so I muted the TV, and after a minute, I walked into the kitchen, and sure enough, the music box was playing, and after a few seconds more, it stopped. I smiled, feeling as if I had a visit from my deceased mom. Immediately, I called my aunt and told her about my experience. Days later, I really had forgotten about all of this happening until I was on the phone with her again, and the music box began playing, and this time I had a witness, and I didn't feel like a crazy ghost-attracting lady. She heard the song and identified the song, strangely enough, being a musician, and it played for the longest time, and we giggled on the phone together that someone was visiting me for sure. Later that summer, my landlord was making major repairs to the house, and days after the work began, I woke up in the middle of the night and heard long rapping or knocks, and I started to hear voices. And when I walked into the apartment, as if a conversation was going on. And at night, I would hear a baby whimper or cry in the distance, even though my newborn is fast asleep. Strange things happen, and I read when major repairs or restoration is done to a house, spirit activity will happen. It's an old house and has seen a lot of occupants, good energy and bad energy. Right, exactly. Well, that's true. I mean, I firmly believe that our homes are whether it's you own it or rent it, really doesn't matter, but it's constantly absorbing energy. And it has before you. Whoever lived there before has left energy imprints. And sometimes those things can just replay. And that's essentially a residual haunting. So a residual haunting is basically just some event playing out over and over and over like a recording. And there really isn't a consciousness to it. Like, for instance, it can be just pacing footsteps that seem to happen during a period of time. They don't seem to be going anywhere. There's no change in them from night to night or day to day or whatever. It's always the same footsteps in the same part of the house over and over. So that would be a residual haunting. And it may be that, somebody was pacing around because they were really stressed about some serious things going on. And so they're just emanating this energy into their home. Well, generations later, those people are long gone, but that imprint still remains. So an intelligent haunting is when it seems to interact with the people there or target people there or something of that nature. Like there's a direction to the haunting. A residual haunting is just things happening, and there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason nor any change in it. An intelligent haunting is when something is there and it's aware of you, and it either likes you or doesn't like you or whatever. Maybe it's just indifferent, but it may do things to you or around you, knowing that you're there and will react to it. So the two major types of hauntings, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, not a bad story. Kind of a cool one. I enjoyed it. All right, so... all right, going to California this time. Going to Cha-Cha Land. It's Cha-Cha Land. It starts with a C, so kind of fits. All right. Well, this is not too long. It says, hello, I'm Mel, and what I'm about to tell you has been happening for over a year and a half. Or for over half a year, sorry. I added a full year to that deal. I live in a small town and have years ago, and a few years ago, my parents recently moved to this same small town. I sleep in a very small room. It actually was a home office, and I've been sleeping in there for around 4 years. I used to be able to sleep soundly with my nightlight off. Sometime after my 13th birthday, I started getting this feeling that something was watching me. I've always believed in ghosts, but now it feels odd. Like something is watching me. 1 foot away from my bed, just staring down. And this only happens in my room. Usually at night, when I'm getting ready to sleep, I can no longer sleep without some type of light. So now I sleep with my television on. TV, I was trying to say, but I was stuck between television and TV, and that's what happened. It was not an aneurysm. It was just me trying to pick which word I was going to say. I also feel as if something is watching me when I'm home alone. Again, only in my room, and sometimes it's so bad that I can't even enter my room when I'm home alone. I often feel this way in my room almost any time whenever I enter my room, which scares me. That's a little bit redundant there. Another thing that scares me is that sometimes my dog will play with me, and then seconds later run out of the house barking like a crazy maniac dog thing. And for no reason. He'll just turn and bark and run out of our doggy door. And also sometimes at night it sounds as if something might be in our attic, but I'm not sure. They might just be rats, which is much better than a haunting. Also, if it's nighttime, I can't leave my rooms once I'm inside of it. Because once I open my door, I see the window that shows outside, and sadly, we don't have blinds for it. And every time I open my door at night, rarely, I keep picturing some guy with a shotgun staring at me. It scares me so much, even though I know it's just in my mind, but no matter how hard I try, I can only picture that guy. That also scares me because around this town, there's often people shooting guns. To this day, I still get the feeling that something is watching me. Sometimes it feels like it's going to hurt me, or it's telling me to get out, and sometimes it feels as if it's watching, smiling, which still really creeps me out, and waiting in the corner of my room, and I feel as if one day I may see the ghost. As if I'll just turn around and it'll be there, staring at me. And of course, I would scream and run out. The only way I'm getting through this feeling is because I have 2 dogs to protect me. So what do you think? Am I just being paranoid? Maybe I am being watched. But by what? Could it possibly be a demon? Or just a family member that died long ago? Or just some ghost? A person did just recently die in this town. Could it be him? Please help. Well, there's just no way from a narrative of a story to know all this stuff. I guess maybe a psychic could tune into this person and figure out what's going on, but I don't know. It could be anything. Could be just paranoia. There is that. Okay, so just looking at the chat quick. Kentucky is next, ladies and gentlemen. And this one's pretty short as well. We've got a bunch of short stories tonight. This is a true story, and when I was in 6th grade last year, that my friends and I all experienced. I was not the only one. It was almost the last day of school, and it was after my field trip was over. 2 of my best friends were talking to each other, like usual, until one of my friends, A, I guess they're labeling their friends A and B, so A started to feel pain on her arms, and A said it felt like someone was pinching her. And then it started hurting on her legs too, but I was watching and no one was around her doing anything. Suddenly, my other friend B started to feel the same pain. And they would jump and scream and start slapping wherever it hurt to see if they can catch anything. And finally, a little pinch started on my arm. But yes, there was no one there. Finally, the pain stopped. And when I looked at my friends, they were covered in red marks and nail marks. On B's arm, there was even a bite mark, and on A's leg, there was a hand mark. I only had the one pinch on my arm, though, and then suddenly, my back feels heavy. A started moaning and started to lean down as if something was really on top of her, and then I can't believe it, but for a second, I saw that boy from the Magic Kingdom laughing, pushing her down with great force. I don't know what boy she's referring to. I screamed, but the bell interrupted. A and B and I ran down the stairs screaming as we felt as if something cold touched our necks. A started crying. B screamed in terror. I pulled them outside and we finally made it, and then we didn't feel anything. A and B were in terror and they were shaking, and I stared in space, trying to remember what just happened. Everything turned back to normal all of a sudden. And I lost my, it says trait of thought, but it's train of thought. We should go now. B cried and waved goodbye. I did too, but I stopped in horror. That same boy stared at me and waved from A's back. I was too scared to tell her, but I told B on the phone. And that was one of the most terrifying things that ever happened to me. Now, thankfully, the boy never pops up, but B is very sick. And she says it's kind of like cancer. I'm worried. I am also wondering if it might be that boy's fault. Also, did I tell you that the next day after that, A missed school because she got sick? Pretty weird. Now, that's an interesting thing. Can spirits cause disease or something? And I don't know. I think that's kind of it's kind of a stretch to say that for me, because I think yes, spirits can cause problems. They can cause discomfort. They can cause pain. They can cause physical ailments, but I don't know about a disease because at that point, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I guess I'll have to ponder that for a while. And, not that I know for sure and whatever I say matters, but I don't know. I don't like to think that that would be possible because at that point, then, are people really that helpless? Are we all just subject to the whims of some spirit? And I don't like to think so. I don't think that makes sense to me. But perhaps the thing is that this spirit detected this disease in the girl through whatever means. Maybe it shows up to spirits like an energy pattern. Maybe it's a color. Maybe it's something they can recognize and go, this one's already weak. And boom, would try to latch onto that person for whatever reason and perhaps weaken them more. Because I think negative spirits, if they do indeed feed on people to sustain them for whatever reasons, that the weaker the person is, the better, because there's less resistance. And if somebody is already weakened by a disease, then perhaps that's a more attractive target for these things, which is also extra horrible because if the person is already weakened from a disease, then for them to conquer that disease, they need all the strength they can get to fight back physically and for their health. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to think of that, but I guess I don't like to believe, I don't want to believe anyway, that we are that susceptible to the whims of a spirit. But I do think that there is a correlation between disease and spirit in our energy, because I believe that we are energy manifested in a body. And so if we are, then any problem with us spiritually could manifest in our body in the form of disease or ailment or problems. And so I don't know. Take it or leave it. Those are just my reflections on that, I guess, for whatever it's worth. But I mean, I do believe that, of course, people can be scratched. They can be hit. They can be injured by spirits. I do believe that that's possible. I think there are ways to protect yourself from such things, but just the average person, I think, could be, subject to those kind of aggressions. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't like to think that that's possible anyway. I can't say yes or no either way, but I just don't believe that spirits wield that much control over us, unless for some reason or by some measure we allow it, and then maybe anything's possible. So just some thoughts on that one, because that brings up a pretty intense point. So we'll move on to the next one, and the next one is coming from Arizona. This is Jess's stomping grounds. Perhaps, okay, so Linda Peterson says, perhaps they can affect your physical body if you are that targeted and take your defenses so low that you can catch something. Well, that's a great point too, and I would agree with that wholeheartedly, Linda. I think that makes perfect sense to me. That's a good point. Let's see, anybody else saying anything? I've also heard that a lot of paranormal experiences are manifested by our subconscious. I think it's called parapsychology. And yeah, Allison, I wouldn't disagree with that either. And of course, the poltergeist phenomenon is widely believed to be manifested by the person who's targeted by it. And usually, generally the people that are targeted by poltergeists are usually female in their early pubescent period. So just turning from girl into woman, in that transition period, that's when 90% or better of poltergeist cases rise. So they do believe that it's very possible that there is a latent PK ability or psychokinetic ability in all of us, and for some reason they may be able to manifest it. Why is that? Are you talking about the poltergeist thing? I don't know why. I'm not. Yeah, I hear you, Brown Dwarf, but I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, and it's not every pubescent girl that experiences this, but most of the researched cases of poltergeist activity has apparently centered around girls in that age range, and why does it happen to them, or why are they Well, maybe they have just more latent ability than most other people. And it's kind of encouraging in a way, to think about that because, things are moving around that aren't being touched, and that's psychokinesis. So if this can happen, if these girls can manifest this, then maybe it suggests that we all have latent psychokinetic abilities that we don't know about in our head, in that other 90% we never use. And for some reason, the I don't know how to say this, the circumstances of these girls' lives have triggered this split in consciousness. So it's almost akin to a multiple personality disorder, except that it's not just a personality. It actually manifests as almost a separate entity, but is still very connected to the person that is dealing with it. So that's what I know in a nutshell about poltergeist. And so, but those are great thoughts, guys. Thank you for sharing those. I think that's pretty awesome. Vicky says, my theory on that is because Virgin Mary was 14, so demons corrupt the teenage girls. Well, that's a great correlation. That could be, there might be something to that, looking at it from a religious angle for sure. I don't pretend to know a whole lot about that, but anything. That's the thing with the paranormal, ladies and gentlemen. Anything is possible. Any explanation is just as valid as any other, because nobody's got a lab full of these things to study. So we're all just throwing ideas at it, and it's perfectly valid. All the ideas are perfectly valid. I don't know about why not the guys. That's interesting. That's a great question. It may be something to do with a girl coming into her menses that triggers such a profound hormonal change in them that this split becomes possible, whereas men wouldn't experience that. Maybe it's an estrogenic effect. I don't know. It's pretty profound, though. Whatever's going on is pretty amazing. Crazy. I don't know. But great questions, guys. I can only do my best to try to answer them, but there's obviously more questions than answers in all of this. But those are just some thoughts as I understand them. So let's get to the next story. This one again is from Arizona. It says, at the end of this past March, my sister, her boyfriend, my hubby, and I took a trip to Brisbane, Arizona for a weekend of camping. Brisbane is known as a mining town throughout the Southwest. In the late 1800s, and the Copper Queen mine opened up in the 1880s, and the town became populated almost overnight with miners, saloon owners, and ladies of the evening. A lot of the original miners' cabins are still standing, and there are quite a few stone foundations left from the ones that have been crumbled. These foundations dot the hillside like a rugged constellation. In 1975, this mine closed for good, and ending an era that more often than not contained 3 or more generations of people that had worked there. When the miners moved out, the artists and the hippies moved in. You always do that, those hippies. In creating a laid-back, fun, and historical place to visit and shop. After an afternoon of sightseeing, the 4 of us returned to our campsite that was stationed directly to the left of the Copper Queen mine. There are tours that still take place in this now defunct mine, and to give you an idea of how close we were to the mine, we had to cut through the mine's parking lot to get to our campsite. After enjoying s'mores and some music, we decided to turn in for the night. My sister and her boyfriend slept in a tent, and my husband and I turned into our camper. I'd left the door unlocked just in case my sister and her boyfriend might need anything during the night. And I often read before going to bed, and did so this night before I started to get tired and decided to turn off the lights. While waiting for sleep to come, I heard the camper door open and someone came in. I didn't open my eyes, assuming it was probably my sister's boyfriend and had forgotten something inside. I heard the footsteps walk to the end of the camper, back again, and then the door opened and closed. It sounded like a man wearing heavy boots. I fell asleep and really didn't think too much more about it. In the morning, I asked both my sister and her boyfriend what they had forgotten in the camper the night before. That was all one sentence, and I broke it into two. Sorry about that. They both looked at me blankly and said that they both had gone right to sleep after turning in. Well, I asked them if they were sure that they had, and they both said yes, they were sure. My husband is also the type that will fall asleep within 10 seconds of closing his eyes, so he didn't hear it either. So if everyone was asleep, then who or what was walking through the camper? Could it have been the ghost of a miner that was checking us out? I really have no idea. I do know that I was completely awake and had not been drinking at all. Anybody have any thoughts? Another thing was that this person did not turn on any lights. It was pitch black in there, and they also walked in and walked out, and I was expecting to hear a bang or a bag unzip, but it was only footsteps. I've attached the picture of Brisbee. The town is literally carved into the hillside. If you look across to the mountain, there is a cave in the wall, although you can't really see it in the campground from the campground. And the Queen Mine entrance is located to the lower left of that mountain. So in the spirit of bringing you, I'll show the picture. It's really pretty tiny though. But here is the picture of Brisbee, I guess. I wonder if that's the deal. I don't know what this black line is, but maybe this is the mine entrance. I don't know. Very interesting. Looks like it'd be a cool place to check out, though. I mean, not necessarily even investigating, but just checking it out. It looks like, I don't know, artistic communities are always fun. I like going there. They have really good energy usually. So, very cool. There's the picture. All right, let me close this and close this. 48 watching and only 34 likes? What? The hell you say? Oh, come on, hit that like button. You know you wanna. You know you wanna. All right, it's about 40 minutes into it. We got time for more, so I'm gonna open some more. Crack open another can of paranormal fun. All right, and this one's coming out of Texas, ladies and gentlemen. This is a little longer, so we'll see how quickly I can maneuver through this one. Too bad we can only do one like each. Oh, that's sweet, Linda. Thank you. I love it if one person could just stack about 20 likes on there. That'd be cool. It's amazing how many people don't bother to like videos, though. And I don't know. Sometimes I forget myself. I just get too involved in what I'm listening to, and then I click on something else. You know, I think the internet, in all of its good things, one of the bad things is it's almost given us all attention deficit disorder, or, you know, it's like click, 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 you know. I don't know. We're not so patient anymore. All right, so let's see what's going on here in Texas. To make this story easy to follow, there's a few things you need to know. My friend Ashlyn, who goes by Ash, is the one that lives close to this house, not me. She also gets super scared super easy. And then there's me. I'm Julie. I love scary things. Well, the harmless kind. And I spend a lot of time at Ash's, so we go by this house a lot. Now, you're probably wondering what the house I'm talking about is. Me and my friends know it as House 300, or the creepy house on Ash's block, or the haunted hazard. The story starts in the middle of the year in the 6th grade when I was 12. My brother just started driving so he could pick me up from school so I wouldn't have to ride the bus. So eventually I got bored of waiting 43 minutes for my brother to come pick me up, and me and Ash came up with the idea to walk to her house and hang out there a bit and then walk back to the school. That way I'd only have to wait 13 minutes. I agreed to this idea really quickly, and so every day after school, we'd walk down to Ash's house. Every day after school, we would have to walk by the house, House 300. Now, at the time, I thought nothing of this house. To me, it was just an old abandoned house with a bunch of made-up ghost stories based on it. So one cold winter day, me and Ash were walking up to her house, and I decided to walk up to the porch of House 300 and look inside the windows. Ash reluctantly followed me and up the gravel driveway and up the steps. I looked inside one of the broken windows and saw something move. Dude, Ash, look. "There's something in there," I yelled. And she looked, and a cat came out of the window. She almost fainted. I laughed because it was funny, so I told her we could leave. Scroll. On the very edge of the lot, I looked back, and there was the cat just standing there. I laughed again, and we went back to Ashes. Inside, I finally asked her, "Why are you so scared?" She turned towards me and told me this. "Don't you see? No cats live around here. There are way too many dogs, and that cat, I remember one just like it starved to death on that porch." Now, after hearing that, all the color drained from me. "So what are you saying?" I asked her. Then she told me this story. When she was younger, before she met me, she would always ride her bike around the block, and one time she got off of her bike to fix her chain in front of that house. She looked up at the front porch and saw an old man with a cane smiling and waving at her in a really kind way. Well, she smiled and waved back, and then she got on her bike and looked back, and the man was gone. There was no way he could have moved that quickly. She got on in less than a second. So after hearing this story, I was really reluctant to go by that house to get back to school. But I had to, so I bundled up in my coat and left at her house, and I walked quicker than normal today, and soon enough, I was going by that house again. I looked in one of the windows and saw a black mass, darker than everything around it, and I sprinted away from that house and got back to the school as fast as I could. The weekend came and passed, and soon it was Monday again, and I was dying to tell someone what happened. So I told my good, fearless friend Tristan everything about it, and he told me he would check it out this weekend, and he would find out what was up. The rest of the week was boring and uneventful, so let's skip to next Monday. By then I was wanting to know what had happened, so as soon as I got the chance, I asked him, and he told me his story. After going into the house through one of the windows, he looked around, and it was really dusty. All the furniture was covered by white cloth. He chuckled, seeing no reason why we girls would be afraid, and he gave the inside one more scan and came across a pair of glowing yellow eyes. He said thought it was just a cat or rat's eyes, and at this point I interrupted him. "Tristan, cat's eyes and rat's eyes don't glow." After realizing this, he went pale and never spoke of that house again, until I brought it up when I was sleeping over at Ashes, but that's a whole nother story. That's pretty creepy. Just looking at the chat. Just wondering what I'm missing, all that good, entertaining fun going on in the chat room. We got the greatest chat community of all. Bar none, you guys are amazing, and I'm just so happy you guys are here all the time. Making me feel special. Because I am special, right? We're all special. All right, let's go to Ohio. This is Dee's area, Diane's area, and Jerry's area, too. Jerry Klein's from Ohio. Let's see what's going on there. I've had experiences with the paranormal since I was 5. And now I'm a mother of 2 adult daughters, and I'm almost 40 years old, not counting the months. And I've had experiences with the paranormal since I was 5. It is a favorite pastime for my children to have me share those experiences with them and their friends. After reading a continuing post, I've decided to write about something that happened to me in the same fashion. I'll start with my most vivid memory rather than the earliest. Oh my God, how long is this? Oh no, it's not too bad. Okay. I had to scroll. I was like, wait a minute. How big is this? So, which is the first incident of many in one of the houses that I lived in as an adolescent. When I was 13, my mom remarried, and we all 3 moved into a large 3-story home in Columbus, Ohio, and we were all really excited to be moving in to start our new family, but in the early 1900s, it had 2,400 square feet of living space, not including the full basement. The style had the influence of the larger Victorian homes not far from this west side area, which was most noticeable in the porch, with the decorative hand-carved wooden slats of the banister wrapping around a quarter of the house. It was built out of wood and covered in white slats of wood siding, And on the side of this porch, which wrapped around, there were 2 entrances. The first went into the living room, and 4 feet down, there was another entrance to the foyer. Once inside, a person could enter the largest room of the house. From either room, the huge kitchen, and from the kitchen, a person could find a back door. Find a back door leading to a double lot sized backyard. And then on the opposite side of that door was the door leading to the cold, damp stone basement. The living room presented the narrow, rickety stairway upstairs to the bedrooms. The first door to the left was a small 48 by 48 landing, was my parents' room. Once in their room was yet another door leading up to a full attic. And this is where I had a scary visit on the very first day that we moved in. All of the furnishings were moved in, and all the beds were all set up to sleep in. My stepdad went to pick up pizza, and I was helping my mom unpack boxes in her room. And when I got to a stack of 3 boxes near the attic door, she told me not to unpack them, but instead told me I could carry them upstairs into the attic. Nice. With the typical reluctance of a teenager, I headed up the stairs carrying the smallest box, about 24 inch by 24 inch. And I remember thinking that the stairs were smaller and had less depth than any other stairs I had climbed. The instant that I stepped onto the floor landing, I felt a presence. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I felt eerie. And it was accompanied by the chills or goosebumps. And then setting the box down, I felt more fear as the sense of the presence became stronger. Although I was scared and part of me wanted to run, it was more than that. I also felt an urge to leave, but it was an external push. Only I felt internally. Only it felt internally. I think the I was accidental. It was more than just an instinct and my reaction to fear. Something or someone was wishing me away, imploring me. Bewildered, I quickly headed back down the steps. I told my mom something weird was up there, but she thought I was trying to get out of working, and she told me to take the other boxes up and then she would listen to me. Oh, nice. With even more reluctance, I heaved the second larger box up the stairs, but this time as fast as I could move so I could get it done as fast as I could. On the way up, I heard my mother order me to set the box back away from the steps to leave a walkway for more things to be put up there. Reaching the landing once again, I felt those chills again, but this time to the bone. And the presence of the entity was still there. I could feel it urging me away, warning me like an invisible force field. I felt like I was invading, but I assured myself that nothing was there, and to just set the box down and go get the last one. I took 2 steps into the attic, setting the second box down and pushed it back a bit. I heard a loud swoop in an instant. I felt an apparition breeze past me. Reactively, I closed my eyes and raised my arms to cover my head. Opening my eyes, I frantically scanned the room, and in the far corner, I spotted the entity, appearing like a shadow, but with form. It began swooping phantom-like here and there, and in 2 swoops from one end of the attic to the other. Of course, I swooped too. In one leap to the bottom of the stairs, screaming, "Mom!" I slammed the door to the attic shut. Immediately, she asked me what was wrong, and I told my mom what had happened. And she said it was probably just a bird, and I told her there was no rustling of feathers, and that I saw a shadow-like thing. She said it was more likely a bat. Oh, man. I could see that she was concerned. However, she told me that I was letting my mind play tricks on me. Well, I completely refused to go back up there, no matter how long I was grounded. She started to go up, but I begged her not to. I told her it looked like the boogeyman I saw when I was little. She stopped in her tracks as I saw the look of recollection of that event on her face. She said she'd have Dad go up there when he got back. Well, we lived there for 2 years, but I never went up there again. There were other events that happened in that house, but I'll leave those events and the boogeyman visit for another time. Yikes, huh? How long is this one? This one's not too bad. I guess I'll read this one, and then that'll be the show. And this one's coming from North Carolina. Oh, I got a caller. I better get this. Hello, caller from area code 928. You are on the air.
Hey, Brent, how are you? This is Russell.
Hey, Russell.
You guys know me as Mogi. You guys know me as Mogi on Monster. How's everybody doing tonight in chat?
Everybody's doing wonderful.
I just wanted to call. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I just said I think everybody's doing wonderful.
Good. I've wanted to tell this story for a long time, but I didn't know where to tell it.
Okay.
You know? And this seems like the perfect platform.
Oh, thank you.
So, no, it's more paranormal than everything else I've been listening to, like Bigfoot and whatnot.
Sure.
Let's see. I grew up on the Jersey Shore back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up back then, we used to love it. Like, I grew up with my mom. My parents were divorced. We used to love it when, like, we had storms because we were a coastal town. And a lot of the times the power would get knocked out. So we'd sit around, and especially at night, with candles and play, like Yahtzee or Monopoly, whatever. We were kids. And it was, we enjoyed doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was growing up. We loved thunder and lightning storms. So now we go to 1993. You have to forgive me. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, no, it's fine, brother. You're doing great.
1993, August, my mom has terminal cancer, and we get the call. She's living in Peoria, Illinois. My sister and I are in New Jersey. And we get the call that she's not doing good. So we drive out to Illinois, and we go to the hospital, and, I haven't seen her maybe but twice since she was sick. And it was rough because she was in final stages, And we just, we sat there and we talked to her, and I know she heard us, but she couldn't talk back to us.
Okay.
So we just gave her permission to, go home. It's okay. Go back home. We'll be all right.
Sure.
And we left, and we go home, and 2 days go by. My sister, by the third day, she went and she spent the night at the hospital. It was the first time that anybody had spent the night at the hospital. And about 5:20 in the morning, my sister gets up to go get coffee, and while she was gone, my mother passed away. So I feel that my mother definitely knew that my sister left the room.
Sure.
And, she passed away. We got the phone call, and I was relieved because she wasn't suffering anymore,
Right.
And so the day goes on, and, it's weird out there. If you belong to a church, everybody brings you casseroles and all this stuff when someone passes, in your family. And it was kind of weird because we don't kind of do that back east.
Sure.
But after getting all this stuff, me and my sister were like, we got to get out of here. So we just went out and grabbed dinner. I couldn't deal with, my sister and all that church stuff at that moment.
Sure.
So we decided to go out to this restaurant, and it's dark out. And as we're heading out, this storm is coming in.
Okay.
And it was weird because this was the most intense storm I had ever seen in my life. As far as lightning goes, it was just a strobe lightning, and it was just amazing. And my sister and I looked at each other, and we were like, this is mommy. And just saying that, I just got goosebumps. But so we're like, this is mommy. So we go have dinner, and after dinner, we go over to this bar just to have a drink. And the storm's still raging. We're sitting at the bar, and I don't know, you guys might have it where you're from. At the bars, they do. Sometimes it's called shake a day or whatever. What happens is you pay and you get one roll of the dice, like a cup with Yahtzee dice in it.
Sure.
Yeah. And for whatever roll, you could win a prize or win a drink, win money, win whatever.
Right.
And we're sitting at the bar, and the storm is raging, and I give the woman, it was a quarter for a roll. I give the woman my quarter, and I roll, and I win a 6-pack. I'm like, oh, right on, you know. So I give the cup to my sister, and she gives the quarter, and she rolls, and she gets a free roll. So she rolls again, and she gets another free roll. So, yeah. So the third roll, she wins a 6-pack. Now, I look at the bartender, and they have this kind of odd look on their face. And I said, how often does that happen? And they just shake their head and said, it doesn't. So I turn to my sister, and I say, hey, Pam, listen to the song on the jukebox. It's AC/DC, Have a Drink on Me.
Oh, wow. That's perfect.
So, yeah. So we were like, thanks, Mom. You know? So the story's a little longer, if you don't mind.
No, by all means. All the time you need.
Fast forward to 2010. I'm living in Arizona. My dad had retired out here, and so I came out here, and I wasn't out here that long, and I was doing some side work or whatever, but I go to this bar to work on their computer system. It's their karaoke system. I was trying to just get it up and running and, you know, see what the program was, whatever. And I'm screwing around with that thing, and when I walked in, there was just the bartender and the cook. That's all the only people that were in this place.
Okay.
So I got to the back, and I had never touched their satellite radio, but I put a country station on and just go back to what I was doing. You know, I changed the station. So I start talking to the cook, and we're talking about whatever, and we get on tattoos, and on my right leg, I have a small lightning bolt, just kind of in honor of my mom.
Oh, cool.
And so mentioning the lightning bolt, I proceed to tell him the story that I just told you about Have a Drink on Me.
Right.
So I tell him the end, and he's like, oh, that's cool. And he gets chills, and he's like, well, I got to go. And he leaves. So it's just me and the bartender. And here's the kicker, guys. I go outside for a cigarette, and it's funny because it was June 27th, 2010. Now, June 27th was my parents' original anniversary when they got married. You know, they were divorced after that. But
sure.
So I go outside, have a cigarette, and whenever, you know, birthdays, holidays, whatever, I go outside and I speak out loud to my mom. You know, hey, Mom, miss you, love you, happy anniversary, blah, blah, blah. And I'm doing this outside while I'm having a cigarette.
Uh-huh.
And when I'm done, all of a sudden, I had this weird doubt. And out loud, I said, I hope everything that I've been believing in all these years, pardon me, guys, isn't bullshit. And I go back inside. I go over to where the computer is, and my pint glass is empty. I walk over to the bar. Now, I told you when I had turned on the country station on the satellite radio,
uh-huh.
And I'm assuming that the karaoke and everything was piped into the same like amplifier, because the music at times would all of a sudden get really low or get loud, get low. It was just weird. So I thought maybe the amplifier was overheating. So I didn't really pay it much attention. So I go in, I grab my pint, and I go to the bar. The bartender says, would you like another one? And at the time, there was no music.
Okay.
So I said, sure, I'll take another beer. I put my glass on the bar. As soon as it hit the bar, the music got really loud, and behind the bar, there was a glass shelf, and on that shelf were 3 bottles of Patron. If you guys know Patron, they have corks in them.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of these Patron bottles, the cork flies out at the same time as the music gets loud, and the bartender just turns white.
Oh.
And she's looking like, oh, what's going on? And I couldn't help it. I just started laughing. I'm like, I guess my mother doesn't want me to have another beer. And then I had to go back and explain to her what I had just told the cook and the story and everything. But that's my ghost story.
That's awesome, brother. That's really profound. Now, isn't that really comforting though to know that she's around, your mother?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, it's no, and you know, it's kind of weird because I think believing in this or kind of being a knower in that, you know, knowing there's something else,
Mm-hmm.
leaves me open to believe in like or have a good idea about like Bigfoot.
Right.
You know, like 8 months ago, I'd say October. I really didn't give a rat's ass about Bigfoot. You know, but I stumbled on Sasquatch Chronicles and Wes and
Yeah.
started listening to some of these stories, and I just got like hooked.
Right.
And because all these stories, everybody can't be lying.
Right. That's what I think too. Yep. Exactly.
You know, when someone tells you a story, and in that story he admits to urinating on himself, no one's going to make that up.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm kind of hooked on this, and I'm glad I stumbled upon your show because again, it's a different platform. It's not all Bigfoot. It's not all this. It's not, but you'll cover almost anything, and I appreciate it.
Oh, thank
You know,
brother.
it's really you guys. You keep doing what you're doing. Everybody in chat, keep listening because you know this is a great show. Cha Cha, you're a little crazy Manx. Brown Dwarf, we'll hook up sometime. But anyway, I'll let you guys go. Thanks for sticking around and listening to that.
Well, anytime. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, and thank you so much, brother.
My pleasure. I'll talk to you again sometime.
All right, good night.
Bye.
Very cool. I guess that about wraps it up, though, ladies and gentlemen. That it's going to be our show tonight. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and I know I did. I always enjoy doing the shows, but tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be joined by Ra Castaldo, who has his own show called The Eye of Ra, which airs on TFR Live as well as the Paranormal Portal started there as well. So he's a fellow host, and he's going to be joining us to talk about his life of experiences and his spirituality and what, you know, all the things he's dealt with through his journey. It's pretty fascinating stories and stuff, but he's going to join us tomorrow night, and we'll get into it with Ra Castaldo here on the Paranormal Portal. So again, remember Saturday, Don and I are going to go to the Bigfoot conference in Spokane, and we will be streaming from there. It'll be during the day though, so it won't be a normal time. So make sure that bell is rung so you get notified if and when we go live. We're going to bring it all to you as much as we can get away with. So, but I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. All right, everybody, I love you all, and sweet dreams.